Between HRT and GLP-1's, a lot of women think that there's finally a solution for fat loss in perimenopause. But after starting progesterone myself, I can tell you it doesn't quite work the way people think. I think this is a really important conversation to have because the talk about hormones is everywhere. Talk about HRT, GLP-1's, fat gain and perimenopause. I mean, it's everywhere. And I totally get why, because a lot of women, we enter this phase of life, we start feeling the symptoms, and we start to think that what used to work for us doesn't quite work for us anymore, and something must be off. So those women start digging for answers. They go down rabbit holes and they sum it up to there's something going on with my hormones. Here's the reality, is that these women are not wrong. Hormones do dictate everything. They dictate how you feel on a daily basis. They influence your energy levels, your hunger and cravings, your motivation to get up and move and exercise. These things, they are absolutely connected to fat loss. So whenever we experience these perimenopausal symptoms and we have these dips in energy, we have sleep disruptions, yes, absolutely. It can impact how you show up and how consistent you are with the things that are actually going to get you to your fat loss goal. So I think this is a really important conversation to have because hormones do impact how you feel. They can impact how you show up. It can impact your consistency with losing fat and keeping it off. But also, I think that it's really important to have this conversation because these things only work if you do. They're not going to do the work for you. I think I need to be really clear about how these things are tools and they can absolutely help you on your fat loss journey. They can help you get through perimenopause with less symptoms, make you feel a little bit more human, and I think that's really important. But the thing is that these are going to work better in conjunction with living a healthy lifestyle. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I want to be really clear here that I am not anti-GLP-1. Okay, so in fact, I want you all, if you're interested in this topic, we are going to touch on it a little bit today, but if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about GLP-1s and how you can not be on them lifelong, how you can actually change your habits so that way you are continuously improving your body composition and keeping the weight off, I want you all to reference my podcast episode I did in February. It's called GLP-1's and Perimenopause, the muscle conversation that we need to have. So check that out on my podcast. But what I wanted to come on here is talk with you all a little bit about what I've been doing as far as HRT and my experience with it. We're also going to cut through the noise on what HRT helps with and what it does not help with. And we're also going to be talking about the things that actually is going to move the dial forward for you when it comes to losing weight and keeping it off. So I'm really glad that you guys are here. Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm the admin of this group, and I am the host of the Lean and Strong in Perimenopause podcast. And I'm really excited to be here talking about this because this is something that a lot of people are dealing with right now. So if you're in your 40s or your 50s, if you're experiencing these symptoms such as disrupted sleep, low energy, low sex drive, fat gain, inability to lose weight, you're in the right place. And I think this is really important because a lot of us are noticing that the things that we used to do, like in our 20s and 30s, they just don't really work for us as far as fat loss goes. So I think it's really important to talk about these things because there's a lot of noise on the internet. And I am science-based. I like to read scientific studies. I like to teach things that actually work, the tried and true things. I'm not a big trend coach. So you're not ever gonna see me walking around with a weighted vest or doing anything like that. But I hope to be a trusted resource for you to get you through your perimenopause journey and not just to survive it, but to actually thrive. Things like macro counting, being active throughout the day, portion control, learning how to naturally quiet food noise, working out, doing strength training and being consistent with it. These things are skills. So it's not anything that you cannot develop as well. I've worked with hundreds of women. I've helped them create healthy lifestyles. I've helped them get results. And it's nothing that you can't have. It's really just It's skill building. And like I said, it's building healthy habits. And this is really going to go a long way if you want to look and feel your best in this stage of life. So again, I am not anti-GLP-1. I am not on a GLP-1. I do have a lot of clients that are on them, and I actually think that they can be very helpful tools, especially if you have dysregulated blood sugar, maybe you have pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, or if you're overweight or obese. I do think that these medications can absolutely get the ball rolling. These medications have been life-changing for a lot of people. They really can be a big help. So we are going to touch a little bit on the GLP-1s, but for today, for the most part, we're going to be talking about HRT. I'm going to be talking about my experience, and we will be talking about exactly what HRT does and what it doesn't, and what you can do that's in your power to control your body composition. So thanks so much for being here. First of all, I'm just going to tell the story of my own journey with HRT. So back in April, I had my annual appointment, and I highly suggest doing this if you're having perimenopause symptoms, is talk to your doctor ahead of time. So I actually didn't talk to my doctor, but I called the front desk and I requested to talk to a nurse, and I'm like, hey, I have a yearly appointment coming up. I don't think there was like really a need to come in any earlier, but it was a couple weeks away, and I told them what I was experiencing. So my symptoms have been poor sleep. I usually fall asleep pretty good, but the issue is that a lot of nights, probably most nights, I do wake up at least once per night. And then sometimes I have anxiety in the middle of the night. So that's been a struggle too, because once my brain starts going, it seems like it can't turn off. Does anyone deal with this? Let me know in the comments if you're here live with me. But so that was one of the complaints. And y'all, sleep is really, really important, because if you are not sleeping properly, it's hard to get control of cravings. I know for me, if I have a poor night's sleep, I'm like craving sugar and carbs, like the stuff that is like full of calories. It can absolutely impact your decision making. It can impact your cravings and your hunger. It can also affect your ability to recover from training. It can also impact your motivation to actually get up and move and get to the gym. So sleep is actually a huge thing. So if you have any sleep disturbances, I would highly recommend talking to your doctor about maybe some HRT. And I will also say this, just like a little side note, I actually did a sleep study as well last month, and my results came back that I actually have mild sleep apnea. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with that, but I have a couple of options that I talked to my doctor about. But that is something that I really want to fix this year, is the sleep. So I called my gynecologist, and I was like, hey, I'm dealing with these sleep disruptions. I'm also dealing with heavy periods. So that was another thing that's really shifted just in the last year or so. My periods have been a lot heavier, and I actually don't feel great at all pretty much the whole time I'm on my period. So that was a concern as well. And really just the low energy. By talking to your doctor ahead of time, you're going to be able to be like, hey, like I actually want to stop and have this conversation about my symptoms, and possibly discuss some HRT treatments. So I'm so glad I did that, because I got into the doctor and she immediately ordered some blood work. I got some blood work done in the lab right then and there. She went ahead and, based off my symptoms, suggested some progesterone. It was really interesting because my blood work came back, and then here's another thing, y'all, that you might want to check out. I had very, very low vitamin D. And when I heard this, I was like, okay, this actually explains the mood swings. So my doctor actually put me on a very high dose of vitamin D, like super high dose. I take a weekly pill, and I'm gonna be doing this for 12 weeks. I think I'm about halfway through it, and already I feel a lot better. So if you have perimenopausal symptoms, if you have low energy, that type of thing, get some blood work done. 100%. I totally feel so much better within a month of taking some HRT and also taking some vitamin D. So I think it's really, really important, if you're having these symptoms, talk to your doctor, get some blood work done, and yeah, have that discussion about HRT. So if you guys are in the group, I have a really good doctor. I would be happy to drop her name. So I would suggest going to either a gynecologist or especially someone who specializes like in menopause or perimenopause. I do feel like a lot of gynecologists, especially if they're younger, they might not really understand perimenopause, menopause that much. My doctor is actually my age, so she does understand the symptoms. You can also talk to a functional doctor. But also, I do want to reference this. There is a podcast episode I did with a guest back in, I think it was January of 2025 with Dr. Kat. She is a wonderful person. I follow her on Instagram and we had a great conversation. I interviewed her on the podcast. And if you want more information from a doctor, that is a really good episode because we break down all the things about perimenopause, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all the things about HRT. Go into my podcast and check that episode out. She really is a gem, and she does take online patients. So if you're looking to maybe do something that is online, I would love for you to reach out to her. But that episode is in the podcast, and it's one with tons of gems in it. So that's really been my experience. So I've been taking all of these things for the last couple months, for about 6 weeks now, and the progesterone is helping. So here's what it's helping me with. So it is helping me 100% with sleep. So I've noticed my awake time is way less than it used to be. Like I used to be up sometimes an hour a night, sometimes more, just like with little wake ups. So I think a lot of that could be the sleep apnea. So that was a total thumbs up for me. Like immediately started feeling a little bit better. Energy levels, 100%. And I think that's probably just due to getting better sleep. So energy levels have been a lot more. I've noticed my step count has been 10 to 15,000 a day, every single day for weeks now. No problem doing that. I'm motivated to get up and move. No problem there. What it has not helped me with, okay? 100% has not helped me with fat loss. In fact, I will even say the scale is actually up a little bit. Not to, I'm not freaked out about it at all. Here is what I think is happening, and I'm hoping that it's temporary, is that bloating is starting to kind of happen. So I feel like it's slowing down my digestion just a little bit, and that's reflecting on the scale. So it's just bloat is basically all that is. So this is why, guys, you really need to talk to your doctor about this. I do not recommend getting HRT or GLP-1 or peptides from like an Instagram influencer. No, guys, don't do that. That's like a huge red flag. Talk to your medical doctor because they are going to have your best interests in mind. They are going to make this like very individual, because things like dosing and also the delivery method. So there's things like oral. So I take an oral pill for progesterone, but there's also things like creams and patches. And in that episode I was just referencing with Dr. Kat, she breaks down all of that. So really good episode to listen to. But that's kind of been my experience with it. Is I do think it's been helpful, but I'm also going to say this, is that it's been helpful because I have the other things in place already. Like I'm already walking 10K steps a day. I'm already being consistent in the gym, lifting heavy weights 4 days a week. I'm already doing portion control and counting my macros, right? So I'm already doing all of these things. So I think women sometimes will get on HRT and they just don't really like the results that they're getting because they're not seeing fat loss. But HRT is not really going to help you with fat loss. It might in a non-direct way, just like we were talking about earlier, because it can help you sleep better and improve your energy levels. So that is going to give you more energy to actually do the things that you need to do in order to lose the weight and in order to keep it up as well. It's one of those things, it's only going to work if you do. But so far, I'm really liking HRT. I think it's really good. So, hey, if you guys have any questions, drop them into the chat if you're here live with me, or if you're in the group watching this, pop any questions you might have. But we are just going to go through just real quick what HRT can actually help you with and what it can't. So HRT can help with hot flashes and night sweats, especially if estrogen is involved. It can help with your sleep quality and quantity. It can help you with mood and anxiety. Now, I was laughing about this because I told my husband about it, and I was like, yeah, I think my mood's a little bit better. He's like, I think so. And I just freaking laughed my ass off. It was so fucking funny. But it can. I feel like I'm a little bit less anxious. Like I'm not getting that wired 2 a.m. feeling anymore, like thinking about like doomsday, like, oh my God, like all this shit. So I do feel like that noise is out of my head unless something major is going on. I absolutely have felt that. I don't know about the mood either. Heavy and irregular periods, it can help with vaginal dryness, and it could also help with bone health. Now, here's what HRT does not do, okay? More than likely, it's not gonna help you with fat loss. Like I said, it can help in an indirect way, but it's not gonna be a magical pill that's just gonna help you lose fat. It's not gonna help you build muscle. Now, again, it can help in a non-direct way, because if you're getting better recovery and sleep, then yeah, you're probably going to be able to build muscle. So it could help in an indirect way, but directly it's not going to help you build muscle. It's not going to fix poor habits, and it's not going to help issues like dysregulated blood sugar and metabolic adaptation. Now, here's the thing. GLP-1s are a little bit different. Okay, so we're going to touch on that here in just a second. But before we do that, there is a few cons. Like I said, with HRT, I've been taking the progesterone. I have noticed some bloating. I don't know if this is going to be temporary or not, but I have been experiencing it. I wouldn't say it's like every day, but I would say like a couple days a week. I kind of feel like my digestion's just really slow, if you know what I mean. So a little bit more bloating, breast tenderness. I have not had any of that. Fatigue. Maybe, I'm not sure yet, but that can be a con of HRT, and then mood changes, okay? So basically the bottom line is this, ladies, is that HRT works best when it's paired with a solid foundation of healthy habits, not used in place of just that. So basically, it's not really going to work unless you do, okay? Let me know if that makes sense. Drop a heart in the comments. Drop any questions that you might have. So I actually want to connect this conversation to GLP-1s because I've been seeing a lot of overlap in expectations here. So let's talk real quick about GLP-1s. Again, I am going to reference you guys back to my podcast episode I did back in February on the Lean and Strong Perimenopause podcast. GLP-1s, they can help you with weight loss. Absolutely. So what GLP-1 is actually a hormone that your body creates. It's created when you eat. So sometimes these hormones can get a little bit out of whack. What a GLP-1 is actually doing is mimicking the GLP-1 that your body naturally makes. What it does is it helps you with signaling to your brain that you've had enough food. So basically, this is why you always hear people talk about how GLP-1s can help you with food noise. Yeah, it can, because it acts like an appetite suppressant. Your brain is getting that signal a little bit quicker that, hey, I've had enough food. So that's how it works. It's basically like an appetite suppressant, to where you have less food noise, you have less cravings, and you get fuller faster. And then you also have slower gastric emptying. So between mimicking the GLP-1 and the slow gastric emptying, this is going to help you create a calorie deficit, which is required for fat loss to happen. This is why people lose weight on it. It basically is going to manage your appetite. Now, do I think that it's great use on its own? No, I actually don't. In fact, it can be very dangerous on its own. It's going to help you lose weight, but it's not going to build the body that you want. Because here's the problem with GLP-1s. Again, I'm totally neutral on the subject, but there is pros and cons, just like anything. And the con is that depending on the dose that you're on, if you have rapid weight loss, more than likely, you're not just going to lose fat mass, you're actually going to lose lean muscle mass. We want to prevent that, because muscle is what is actually going to give your body that tight toned look. You're not going to be able to look toned when you lose weight if you didn't have muscle there in the first place. It just doesn't happen that way. And in fact, it's really hard to build muscle in a calorie deficit, unless you're new to weight training and you have a lot of fat to lose. So it's really, really important to make sure that you are doing the things that is required for not just fat loss, but maintaining fat loss. And we're going to get into that real quick. But that's exactly how GLP-1s work. I really think that it can be a good starting point, especially if you have dysregulated blood sugar, especially if you're obese or overweight. But Just a quick rant. Do I think it's good for a 5, 10, 15 pound weight loss or for inflammation? Absolutely fucking not. Guys, like, no. If you only have 10 to 15 pounds to lose, you can do that on your own. Seriously. And if you can't, more than likely, you probably don't have any business dieting because your calories are so low that you're just going to have to drop your calories even more. But I digress. But I see this all the time, and I just want to have just a quick disclaimer that I do not agree with that at all. In fact, I think it's predatory because there is a lot of people making fucking money off of insecure women that are really only needing to lose 10 pounds. And you know what? If you only need to lose 10 pounds, you probably don't really need to lose 10 pounds. More than likely, you probably just need to build more muscle. So I am going to call that out just real quick. I don't want to get too far into the weeds with this idea, but I do think that is worth calling out because I see this all the fucking time on Instagram and it drives me fucking insane. I'm never going to do that. And you know what? If I ever do, someone please bitch slap me. Okay, honestly, please bitch slap me because no, I'm not fucking doing that. I know I can make more money if I did peddle shit like this, but it's just against my values. I'm looking out for you guys, and that's just not the way to do it. So like I said, if you're overweight or obese, talk to your doctor, see if it's a good fit. I do think it can be super helpful because it's going to help you create a calorie deficit. It's going to quiet that food noise. It's going to decrease your hunger and cravings, and that can be a big help if you have a weight loss goal. That's really the lowdown on GLP-1s. Again, you guys can go back to my episode all about GLP-1s and talking about muscle. Very, very important conversation. I see this all the time. In fact, I've gotten clients because they've been on a GLP-1, they lost weight rapidly, or they didn't weight train, or they didn't eat properly. Like, there's certain things that you still need to do in order to get good results on a GLP-1. It's not just going to do the work for you, just like the HRT. But a lot of women have approached me, and I end up working with them because they lost the weight, but then they weren't satisfied. Once they got to their goal weight, they're like, I kind of look flabby, and not just skin. They just didn't have any muscle tone because they lost muscle in the process. So it's really, really important that we do these basic behaviors, and these things are not something you're born with. I wasn't born with like a fucking scale. No, I had to learn how to weigh my food. I had to learn how to find repeat meals. I had to learn how to build a plate. I had to learn how to get enough protein into my diet. I had to learn how to go to the gym and lift weights. This is not something I was born with. I've been doing this stuff for years, guys. I've been doing the things for a long, long time. So let's get into this because this is really, really important. So walking is so underrated. You do not need to do all this cardio that makes you feel like you're about to fucking die. Okay, you really don't. Walking, like I was saying, I do 10 to 15,000 steps a day. It is a lot. So, hey, you don't have to do all that. You can work up to whatever, but I would say a good goal is 7,000 steps a day. I think that's enough, more than likely, to at least maintain your weight and to prevent additional weight gain. Let's break this down real quick. Your structured exercise only accounts for 10% of your everyday calorie burn. Okay, 10%. Your NEAT is your non-exercise activity. Okay, so any movement outside of your workouts, cooking a meal, fidgeting, pacing while you're on the phone, going for a walk, those types of things, that accounts for 30%, okay? People that think that their HIIT workout is going to burn a shit ton of calories, yeah, it is, but that is going to be a very small slice of the pie compared to walking. So that is one thing. All my clients, immediately, I'm like, okay, let's start tracking our steps. Let's see where we're falling, and let's see if we need to increase. But 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day is great. If that's a lot, don't worry about it. Like, work up to it. So I had a client, she had a sedentary job, like a lot of people do. And what we did, she was getting like 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day. And I'm like, okay, let's just try to bump that up by 1,000 this week. So instead of 3,000, we shot for 4,000. And we just did this week after week. If she couldn't stick to it, we would just stop right there. She would do that for a while, and then we push a little bit more, right? When it started to become a little bit easier to actually get those steps in. So don't feel like you have to you have to walk 10,000 steps a day. It's just really going to depend on your goals and all of that and your lifestyle. So You know, I'm self-employed, so I can I can find lots of pockets of time to get my walks in. So it's really just going to depend on you. But walking is actually way more important than people think. And I will also say you do not need to do fast walking. You do not need to walk with a weighted vest. I mean, those things can add intensity, but I'm just talking about moving more outside of your workout. So you don't need to make it a workout, okay? All right, weightlifting. I think you guys all know that. You guys know I'm a freaking gym rat. I'm a meathead. I like lifting heavy shit because, guys, I've done everything. So I've done HIIT. I've done boot camps. I've taught all of these things too. I've done Pilates. I was a Pilates instructor for 7 years. I taught mat and reformer. I did all of these things. Weight training has given me the best body, bar none. More than the group fitness classes, more than the sweaty workouts that made me feel like I was about to pass out. Yeah. And honestly, those workouts are really not necessary at all. Not for fat loss. I don't ever do HIIT. I haven't done a burpee in years. It's not necessary. Okay? You can be mad at that, but I'm just trying to make things easy on you. All right, so weightlifting. So anywhere from 2 to 4 days a week. I don't really suggest, I mean, some people can do 5. I think it just depends on the person. I've seen better results from 4 because I'm recovering better. But 2 to 4 days a week is great. I think, you know, if you just want like, you don't want to lose muscle mass, and you just want to kind of maintain your muscle mass, I think 2 is enough as long as the intensity is good and you have good programming. If you want more physique change, I would say more around 4 days a week. Okay. I like to do 2 upper body, 2 lower body workouts a week. I think any more than 5 strength workouts in a week is just, you have like this point of diminishing returns where it's not really going to benefit you anymore. In fact, you're going to have a harder time recovering. And we need to get real that I know I feel a lot different at 45 than I even did at 40. So the days of 5 to 6 workouts a week, those are gone. I work out 5 days a week because I do a cardio day. I think that's really, really important. The weight training, even if you don't want to look like a bodybuilder, is still important. For one, you don't want to be a weak little bitch, right? I don't want to be an old frail lady. I don't want to not be able to do anything. I want to be active. Like, I want to have a good quality life. Weight training is going to help you keep muscle on your body as you lose weight, which is really important if you're on a GLP-1, because a lot of times you're going to have rapid weight loss. So making sure that you're doing some weight training and eating enough calories and eating enough protein, those things can help protect your muscle mass. So it is going to help your physique. It's just going to benefit you. And not only that, it's going to make weight loss easier, because when you have more muscle on you, weight loss just becomes easier because your metabolism is going to be in a better spot. All right, portion control and macros. This is so important, okay? Some of you all need to get out of your fucking head that eating clean equals fat loss. It doesn't, okay? So let me share a quick story. I used to do keto. I actually did keto for like 2-3 years, something like that. I even taught it for a short amount of time. I have pictures of me. I have pictures of me 10 pounds heavier than I am now, okay? I was eating a keto diet, and what I want to say about that, the reason why I know is calories is because of that. Like, I'm about 120 now. I think the heaviest I was back when I was doing keto was around 130, 132. I know it's calories because I have all of my macro data inside of MyFitnessPal. So just eating a little bit less, like I'm talking like I'm probably eating like 200 calories less on average, maybe 3 a day than what I was. But my point is that I was eating a keto diet and I was bigger than I am now. And now I'm eating like, my diet is 35 to 40% carbs. I was eating like 30 grams of carbs a day. Now I'm eating 100 and usually around 170 grams, somewhere around there. I'm leaner and I'm also more muscular. My point is that even though I was eating a clean keto diet, I still had more body fat, and I actually had less muscle too, than I did eating carbs. So it's not like a carb versus no carbs. It's how many calories are you consuming and how much are you moving. In addition, I'm also walking more than I used to. So there's the difference of like, what, 10 to 12 pounds. It's not keto. It's not eating clean, okay? So that's my whole point. You can still gain weight on a clean diet. And the reason is the laws of thermodynamics. If you want to lose weight, you need to eat less than your body is burning. You have to create some kind of calorie deficit, whether that's going to be through your diet or your exercise. I suggest doing diet. You can do a little bit through your exercise as well. This is the way to lose weight. I know some people are resistant to it because it takes time, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's a skill set, guys. Like I was saying, if you get good at this, I can track my macros in like 2 minutes a day. It's totally worth it. And then I have a scale. I just get that out during my meals and I weigh out my ingredients. It's no big deal. Now, if you don't want to do that, there's other things that you can do. You can learn how to use your hand as a portion guide. That is something that I teach in my coaching programs. You could also just weigh your food. Like there's certain things that you can do. You can do the plate method where like a palm-sized portion of protein, a fist size of veggies, and so on. Like there's ways that you can do this without having to count macros. And I think that's actually a really good way to get into it. But trying to eat clean or cutting carbs, like that's actually not really gonna help you lose weight. And I'm gonna argue here that if you guys disagree with me, the reason why keto works is because it manages your appetite. You feel more satiated, so you eat less. So you're still losing weight through a calorie deficit. But like I was saying earlier, you can gain weight and still be eating a whole food diet because it doesn't matter what you're overeating, healthy or not. Like it doesn't matter if you're eating avocado toast or whatever on gluten-free bread. Like if you're eating too many calories, you are going to gain weight, period. Like that's just how things work. All right, protein and fiber. Okay, this is another big one. Protein and fiber. This is great because protein is going to help you maintain and build muscle mass. It's also going to help you stay full. So this is one way you can naturally decrease your food noise is to just simply eat more protein. Protein is very satiating, and then fiber is going to help you feel more full. And not only that, is going to help you with your digestion. Protein and fiber is a really good thing to focus on. Just eat a little bit more protein, eat more fruits and veggies, eat more beans, find some fiber-rich foods to incorporate into your diet. This can really go a long way with quieting food noise naturally. And not only that, maintaining your muscle mass. So really, really important. All right, sleep. Now, there's things that you guys can do, natural things. So one is do not drink. I don't do this, but I do try to moderate, especially like on weeknights. I either don't drink or I keep it to 1 or 2 because I know anything more than that, even 2 actually is kind of pushing it for me. It's really, really important that if you are struggling with sleep, take a look at your alcohol intake because it does disrupt your sleep. There's also other things like just having a consistent bedtime, having some kind of bedtime routine. I like to just read for a good 30 minutes before bed. That's enough for me to get ready for sleep. But I think, a lot of us are on our phone. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you're struggling with sleep, and like I was saying in the beginning, sleep really dictates a lot of things. Like it can impact anything under the sun, your hunger, your energy, your cravings, all of that thing, your decisions. So if you're not getting good sleep, then yeah, you might not be making the best decisions. So doing things like that. There's also magnesium. I think I mentioned that earlier. Magnesium is a great over-the-counter supplement that can promote like a sense of calm. So it can help with sleep in some women. And then finally, stress management. Okay, this is the hardest one I know for me. Because I'm like, I just want to drink a glass of wine. But it's like, no, I need to do things like deep breathing. There's a mental health group that I meet with a couple times a month. That's been so helpful, talking with other people, doing things like meditation. I have a meditation app I really, really like with Gabby Bernstein. I love it. I totally suggest that. But there's so many good meditation apps. I do sound baths. Those are great too. Everyone's sense of self-care is going to be a little bit different in stress management. Playing in the dirt, like for me, I love gardening. I have a flower garden with zinnias and sunflowers. Like that makes me really happy, just playing in the dirt. And I tell you what, pulling weeds is so satisfying. I don't know why. I feel like I'm just like getting the shit out, So yeah, I think it's really important to have like a couple of activities that you can go to because a lot of us are living in this flight mode. We're always running around with dysregulated nervous systems. And it's like doing that, a lot of times we're not making the best choices when it comes to things like food and alcohol. So I think it's really, really important to have things that are going to get you in that rest and digest state. So, so important. And not only that, it's going to help your digestion. It's probably going to help you with weight loss. Whenever you have a more regulated nervous system, you're just going to feel better and probably going to make weight loss easier as well. So let me know if you guys have any questions about that. But like I was saying, all the basics, these are things that I teach. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not, you know, peptides or walking with a weighted vest, but I'm like, y'all, these are the things that are approved by science that work. They do get you results. And it's just one of those things, you know, like, you just have to give it time, and you have to be consistent with these things for them to actually work. Because a lot of times I hear from women, they're like, well, I tried the macro counting and it didn't work for me. I'm like, okay, well, let's break that down then. Did you actually weigh your food? Do you know how many calories you actually need? Or are you going off of some calculator that doesn't actually know all your stats? What kind of formula are you using? Are you staying in fat loss too long? It's so nuanced, right? So the basics always work. It's that you have to be consistent with them, and you have to give them time. And if they're not working, something might be off. And that's why a lot of times it's great to work with a health coach that can kind of see these things. They can see what you don't see and steer you in the right direction. So that way you're not just going down that path, not seeing results, and spinning your wheels. I think that's about it for today. I'm going to go ahead and drop my perimenopause fat loss secrets into the show notes of this podcast. If you guys are watching inside my Facebook group, I'm going to put a link to grab that free resource in the comments of this live stream. Also, if you are listening to the podcast, join my Facebook group. So I've been doing these live streams inside of my private Facebook group where you guys can come on here live and ask me questions. It's really great, guys. We have such a great community here, and I've been really enjoying get to know a lot of you, because what I've been doing, I've been reaching out to you guys that are new to the group and just introducing myself and just offering to just, hey, you know, if you ever need me, like, I'm here, you can pick my brain. But guys, this is not an easy time of life. We have competing priorities. Everything is fucking hard this time of life. The things that used to work for us don't work anymore. So yeah, it's a hard place to be, but also I think this can be a really great time. Like, I know for me, I feel like more of myself. Like, I feel like, you know, my authentic self is coming out more and more as time goes on. I have less fucks to give. Like, it just feels so freeing. So I don't think that perimenopause is like doom. I think that it can actually be a really good time. I think it can be a time of growth. I think it can be time of doing things a little bit differently. And I do think that it can absolutely be the time of our life where we actually can look and feel our best. So thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I will be back on the podcast next week. I'll probably do a studio episode next week, so a little more polished. But I've been really enjoying just these raw coaching sessions inside this awesome community of ours. So I will drop the link to the Perimenopause Fat Loss Secrets, and I will also drop the link to join our private Facebook group. And I really look forward to talking with you. So, all right, that's it for today. Let me know if you guys need anything, and I will talk with you next week. All right, bye for now.